Hey, what's up, y'all? I promised that I would just come in with no rehearsal, no practice and all that other good stuff. And that's exactly what I'm doing today. With the word of today is what I'm thinking or being told. I apologize. And also, um, I'm going to gift y'all with my number one choice, my number one pick. I did a piece, only one other piece, because like I said, I'll never do promotions or anything like that. But I did one other piece, and it was on a company called Symbiotic, which is still one of my favorite choices. Just haven't been, I guess, chasing them as hard as I should. But I got them in two different portfolios, so I guess I count I'm chasing them. But today, the reason why I'm talking, or the reason why I'm doing this recording, is to talk about a very hard one. Probably the hardest one that I'll ever talk about. I probably should have been instructed to do it first. But this is my second video in reference to word of the day. And with this video, I kind of believe that it should have been my first video simply because of the word of the day. And I was also told to give this gift. And hopefully I'm not wrong about this gift. It's not financial advice, of course. But I've been spending the last 3 years learning about crypto, blockchain, and artificial intelligence and all kinds of technologies and everything from dark matter to light and sound. So I've been learning a lot about technology in the last 3 years, learning a lot about the markets in the last 3 years, learning a lot about life in the last 3 years. And, being an investor that is not wealthy, I never was wealthy. I'm actually poor. And actually, trying to invest while being poor, and also trying to teach other people or show other people that even while being on welfare or being on, disability or some type of, retirement, Social Security, anything, you can still invest. I know it sounds crazy, but, nowadays you don't have to have a broker. You could just download an app and start buying a company that you already know is going to win, like Apple or something, where you can't go wrong. And so that's the reason, the purposes for the channel. The other purposes, of course, is, I was inspired by my mom when I lost my mom back in December 2020. And after that, I think I started like 4 YouTube channels. And maybe I'd already had some Facebook pages and groups. But I think I started like another 4 or 5 pages and groups since then, maybe even 6 since then. And other platforms too, like, Snapchat, TikTok and all. But that's what inspired me. And like I said, trying to do something that's a little unorthodox, and that is show people an unorthodox way of investing, very unorthodox, with a very unorthodox mindset, and also show people a very unorthodox, I guess, picture. I don't know. Trying to let people know that, hey, even if you're in the hood, I mean, I'm talking about slamming the hood, probably even with a drug habit or something, can barely make it from check to check. Try to tell people, hey, what I learned is that there's been times in my life where I probably didn't know where my next money or dollar was coming from. But at the same time, when I did get what I would call a pop, and some of us out there, we know what pops is and licks is or whatever. But if I did come across, let's say, a pop or a lick, meaning, I came up in some way, shape, or form, then it was my responsibility to respect that whatever it is that I came up with, minus 20%. like literally minus 20%. So let's say I had a table full of money and all, and it came out to be, let's say, I don't know, money and other things, and the value of it came out to be, let's say, I had some cash, $1,000 cash, maybe some jewelry or something, and a few other things that I'm liquidating or whatever. And, you know, let's say I'm trying to buy something and I'm saving. So what I would do is I would take that come up, you know, because I'm, like I said, I don't know when my next pop or lick or come up is going to be. So I would take that come up and I would say, okay, 50% of that come up is what's truly mine. The other 50% is just not mine. It never was mine. And by doing that and practicing that mindset, you know, I was able to train myself to do something that most of us can't do. And that is, you know, try to save, you know, and that was just my strategy, to try to save or try to stack. And I try to tell people to do the same thing, or have the same mindset when they're thinking of investing in assets and things like that, or the difference between creating net worth versus income. I try to tell people the same thing. It doesn't matter your income. It doesn't matter how much money you have coming in. It only actually matters your disposable income. And your disposable income could literally be money that you mentally look at is not yours or does not belong to you. If Uncle Sam is giving you money every month and, you know, for some odd reason, Uncle Sam starts sending you more money this month, then that's called a come up. You know, if you got to come up, you know, maybe Uncle Sam made a mistake and for the next 6 months he's giving you more money, then it's your responsibility to, you know, look at that money that Uncle Sam's giving you that's different from the other money that Uncle Sam's been giving you, and take 50% out of that money, because that's the come up, you know, and take that 50%, and you don't have to invest it in, you know, stocks and stuff like that. But, you know, back in the day, unfortunately, I would do things like invested in drugs, unfortunately, like weed or, you know, something like that, or some other drug that I can actually sell and profit off. Is what I would do in the past. Thank God I don't do that anymore. So, and by doing that, I would grow. And it would get to the point where I would if I was working and selling drugs, or if I, you know, had a little job or something and selling drugs or whatever, then, you know, it would get to the point where I didn't have to touch my job money, you know, or we get to the point where, you know, let's just say I didn't have to touch my job money or something. And that would be money that I would take and, let's say, go to New York, and I would buy things, a bunch of things, put them in my trunk and come back and sell them. So now I have the job and I'm doing the New York thing and I'm doing whatever else on the, you know, side that I could hustle up. And before you know it, I have an abundance, you know, when I'm not supposed to. So, and it's the same thing for, even if, like I said, Uncle Sam's sending you a fixed income, you know, look at that income, because income is probably not going to raise unless you have a come up, you get lucky. So 9 times out of 10, your income is probably not going to raise. You just have to respect your money in a way of money saved is money earned. In other words, the same way that government sent you $1,500, hey, they didn't send you $1,500, they sent you $1,300, and it's your responsibility to work that $1,300 out. Because then what happens is 9 times out of 10, what you're going to do is you're going to start taking money from your leisure so that you can make your necessities work. So let's say you're smoking weed or something, you got a weed habit or a drinking habit, cigarette habit or something like that, and you got your money paid off for your bills and all, but you got your money that you have allocated to take care of yourself and maybe for the kids, and, you know, provide yourself with things you need on a daily basis. So then what you do is you start taking money from that pile, because you've already took your $200 out off rip. And that $200 that you took out, that's money that you cannot expect to see ever again. It's just simply, you just have to have the mindset that the government couldn't send you $1,500 this month. Something happened. They only sent you $13, and it's your responsibility to put that $2 away and not touch it, regardless of what. Just don't touch it. You know, grow it, not just put it in the savings. Grow it. It's your job to flip it. You know, so that you can get to the point where you literally don't need the government's check. You hear guys rapping, you say, oh, well, I'm spending last year's money. It's true. That person is literally spending last year's money, meaning that all the money that they made this year, they haven't touched. They literally spent last year's money. And it's the same thing with working from paycheck to paycheck. You can get yourself to the point where you simply save exactly what it is that you get on a paycheck basis. So whether it be a monthly check or a weekly check, if your monthly check is $1,500, you can get to the point where you have $1,500 saved up or stacked or flipped. And then now you can literally say, fuck you for the month. I don't need your $1,500. I have exactly what you're about to give me already stacked. And then you'll get to the point where you have 3,000, then 4,500, and then so on and so forth, where you can literally say, okay, well, now I have 3 months of money already set aside. And then you'll get to the point where you have 12 months of money. And then that means you're spending last year's money. And now, obviously, while you have 12 months of money, you're growing that money or you're flipping that money as well exponentially. And that's the point that I try to bring across to even a person who's literally on welfare, because again, it's not about a person's income, it's about a person's disposable income. And then even more important than that, what are you doing with that disposable income? Are you going out buying clothes? Are you flipping it? Life is a business. You put out money in your home to keep your home up, and you bring money in your home. That's the business of life. Each one of us have our own business, whether we know it or not. We're responsible for keeping debits and credits. Literally. It's like debits minus credits equals owner's equity is what we're doing in each of these households. So we're already running a business. So you don't have a choice but to run a business. You're running the business of life. You might as well run the business and extend it into creating some more financial independence for yourself. And that's what you do when you start to get into creating net worth and not creating income. Never mind income. That person can literally make $200 a week versus your $1,000 a week. But because you filled your life up with $900 worth of bills every week, that person hasn't filled their life up with any bills. They have $200 disposable income. You only have $100 disposable income. You killing this person income-wise, but they're killing you. They're literally doubling you disposable income-wise. So money saved is money earned. There's nothing worse than seeing somebody go out and fill their life up with a bunch of loans and fucking credit and shit. And then they wonder why they have no life. Like literally you see their car at the job all day. Or you find out their car is not even owned. The car is leased. You're like, damn, what the hell are you doing? You're killing yourself. You pay that money, you put that money down payment on the car, you lease the car, you got restricting miles and shit. You can't go nowhere, you can't do nothing. The only thing you can do with that car is drive back and forth to work and hope you don't go over your lease miles. You played yourself. And it's because you filled yourself with a bunch of bills and loans and credit. Nothing's owned. This is a place or a system of ownership. All this material is a system of ownership. So you don't own anything, even when you think you own something. And you definitely don't own something when somebody else is holding your title or your deed. So, instead of the ownership, you can, purchase things that create equity, that creates growth. Nothing's owned anyway. Everything's fucking fake. It's about as fake as your money or our money. Everything's fake. So you might as well create intangible growth, intangible wealth, and then, liquidate that wealth. Because again, everything's fake. Everything's fake down to this table's fake, so yeah, but not to get too distracted. The other word that we have to talk about today is God. And that's a word that you don't hear people talk about in the manner that you'll probably hear me talk about it today. First thing I want to say that I'm being told off rip is I hear people say God is Jesus. I see it all the time. I see the fish, and I know what that fish means. It's kind of amazing, the infiltration of this planet. But the first thing that comes to my mind is people saying Jesus is God, when we distinctly in Christianity, we're told that it's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And that, Jesus carried the spirit of the great creator of all. And that's nothing physical. I mean, it's so amazing that all the logic's right here in front of our face, but we still let deception get the best of us. And it's not our fault. The only thing that matters is our intent. The only thing that matters is your intention. It's not my fault that I love beautiful women. The only thing that matters is my intention. And that is that I intend to fight. I might love them beautiful women, but I'm still fighting. I know that's my biggest weakness. I even beat money. My weakness is physical, beautiful. I can't do nothing about that. I'm fighting, and that's my intention. And, it takes a lot to say that. It takes a lot to say that you're searching for divinity, but at the same time, you're still getting whipped by a fat pair of legs and booty or a beautiful face, So, and I'm a man enough to admit that. So, but The other thing that comes to my mind, not only, you know, us making a mistake and calling anything physical God, it's like that's the first way they get us. They get us because we're thinking that God is something of physical. You hear people say, oh, God came down and gave me his hand. God gave you his hand? Oh, okay, all right. You hear people say, a lot of physical things about God, and you got to think, maybe they're talking about Jesus or something. They can't be talking about God. Maybe they're talking about Jesus, you know, the man that died at 33 to carry the spirit of the great creator of all. And what they also don't tell you is that there's been other humans on this planet that carried all kinds of other spiritual things with them. We call them possessions, you know. I also hear people, you know, go back, you know, maybe, you know, no more than 10,000 years when it comes to the study of, let's say, religion or study of deities and all. I think that's amazing because man's walked alongside dinosaurs. I think the biggest distraction is that man thinks God is something of physical, is something of matter, when I believe, personally speaking, I believe that all physical matter is of sin. I think that's the reason why there's 8 billion sins on this planet. We're all born in sin. And if no one ever gave birth, then no one would ever be here as an avatar. And, you know, I use the word avatar because, simply put, I believe that we're simply incarnations of physical avatars of a derivative of spirits, or a derivative of spirits is what I'm being told. I believe that, let's say, for example, if there's one spirit, and let's say spirit was an item or a thing, if there's one spirit, then that spirit can be responsible for multiple avatars, meaning multiple physical entities here on the planet. That one spirit can be responsible for dog avatar, insect avatars, human avatars. It's kind of like how we do in the metaverse. If you go back to the pyramids and Sumerianism and Dead Sea Scrolls and Emerald Tablets and Kemet, Ptah, all these stories, you'll come up with this. You'll come up with, especially in the hieroglyphs, you'll come up with, we are God once we achieve godlike status. And we're just able to decode these pyramids and all to find these things out. And lo and behold, we're already at godlike status. We can clone, we can splice, we can genetically engineer things, we can do a lot of things. We can even do time travel. We can do things that you really don't think we can do. But even more important, we can create what's been created for us, even though it's a sin. In other words, it's a mockery within a mockery is what humans are able to create when we have the metaverse versus the multiverse, when there's multiple multiverses. We just created one metaverse, and then soon or later we'll be able to create multiple metaverses with the help of AI and all these other things. So in other words, we're creating a mockery within the mockery of who we call the spirit of Lucifer, Satan, the devil, whatever you want to call it, the creator of this place. And that is my preachings for the future. There's no man walking on this planet that's going to tell you that there's two creators of all. That there's a creator of this physical place, then there's a creator that created all. That's my job. And it's going to be a hard one, but it'll have to take place after other things take place. So, unfortunately, we just simply been bamboozled. The things that we worship as our creators are no different from us creating the dog after the wolf. The things that we worship as our creators are aliens. And aside from that, the things that we worship as our creators have been created themselves by other things. And then even more important than that, we were tampered with by other things even before them. They were just declaring that they're the only ones to be worshipped after tampering with us. But we've been around before dinosaurs. We've even been on Mars, Venus, other planets, other solar systems, and still are. So there's multiple derivatives of homos, if you will, or man, if you will. So it's a mockery within a mockery. And the biggest mockery of all is not only that we can mock man, but we can mock the creation. We can mock the multiverse. We're creating the metaverse, which is an exact mirror of the multiverse that we're existing in. And that mirror and the metaverse is what will be, while our physical avatars will be eventually trapped over here and harnessed over here and used over here for whatever it's needed, for the things that we call or worship our gods. When the great creator of all is nothing of physical, it's of energy. Trust me. Sense the energy. It's of energy. And that's about one of the closest words to describe it. If you can imagine the create ability or the programmability or information technology is what we would call it. If you can imagine the capability of binary code, zeros, ones, and then taking that from zeros, ones through nines, but only being one programmability, or let's say space or data or capacity for storage or data or creation being zeros through nines, and then multiply that by zeros and nines in every directions that are not even conceivable by this dimension or frequency of reality that we reside in. Like literally, if there's a definition for direction, the closest definition that we can give here in this frequency would be up, down, that way, this way, that way, and that zeros through nines is going in each of those directions, almost forming into an infinite sphere, and that being the programmability of the great creator of all, infinite, plus then some. In other words, I can't even begin to describe what the great creator of all creativity or programmability would be. It would be almost impossible from this frequency of reality. The closest thing that I could say is zeros through nines is what creates this physical sin-filled place. But the great creator of all taught, let's say, its kid just the keys of zeros through nines for one, but the great creator of all holds zeros through nines in infinite directions for creativity ability. Now imagine that. So all we're doing is a mockery within a mockery when we transpire or create the metaverse. And when it comes to studying or worshiping our deities, we're no different from, like I said, what we've done to the wolf. But the wolf was here before we tampered with it. We just made the dog into our image, into our likeness for our reasons, and we enslaved the shit out of him. The same thing that Anunnaki did with us. Inky and Anil is what we worship. In order to understand that, you have to go back to the precursors of Christianity, which is Judaism, and the precursors of Judaism, which is Samaritanism, and the Emerald Tablets and all that. So, and Dead Sea Scrolls, of course, and your mysticism, your Torah, and then coming back to Samaritanism and understanding, the things that created us in their image. It's nothing to be proud of. And when it comes down to race, I never speak separation or anything like that, but just to let the black people know, yeah, the proof is in our pigmentation of our skin that we're the chosen ones, or the ones that, been here the longest, closest to the sun and all that other, crap. But at the same time, if we knew what tamper with us and what we worship as our gods, we probably wouldn't be as proud as we claim we are. And, these ASE guys, these Eastern Stars, which is nothing but a derivative of your Masons, all these people out here screaming kings and queens. And, like, I'm not bashing anybody, but you're just worshiping physical. I could be the most intelligent. I hear guys call themselves Hoteps and Ptahs and all kinds of stuff, Ras, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. And this person is very intelligent, but all this person speaks of is physical. And that is the distraction. The distraction is physical. The distraction is what we're mocking right now. We're going to be kept, let's say we got our virtual glasses on, and we're going there willingly over to the metaverse. And then in the future, we don't have a choice. It's inside of our head. We're locked over in the metaverse. And our physical is being harnessed for whatever it's needed for by the things that we call our creators, while we're literally stuck over somewhere else. Like we already are right now. Right now, our spirits are bound. That's why you always hear me saying hashtag free our spirits on every post I post. For more than 15 years, I've been saying this hashtag free our spirits. And the reason why is because our spirits are bound. The only way they can react is through our possessions. us as avatars. And some of us are gifted enough to connect with that spirit, and some of us are not. We have no clue to what I'm talking about. And some of us are. And we find explanations for what's going on in our lives. And then we bring it to other people because that's our responsibility. So if you have a connection with the spirit, then you would probably know a lot about the spirit. You're communicating with it a lot. It's your spirit. So what we are is simply derivatives of that spirit. And so the mockery that we're creating is the mockery that we create when we create the metaverse. And you can believe that I've been spending a lot of time learning about physical too. It's almost impossible not learning about physical, but physical is a distraction. That is the distraction. That's the reason why they want you to talk about Jesus and not talk about the spirit that would reside within Jesus, because then they have to teach you about your spirituality and who you were first, who you are forever, not who you are for just 80, 90 years. So when you talk about God, that's what I have to say about God. That's first off. God is nothing of physical. If you ever hear anyone talking God is of physical, they're wrong. This place is nothing but trickery of light. This place is nothing but crystallization of molecules. This place is nothing short of what we would call magic, with just the codes of zeros through nines, linear. When it exists, zeros through nines in multiple directions, infinite directions. So that's the first thing. And then, of course, just to go back into the jewel, because I'm going to wrap this up because there's background noise. But just going to wrap this up and go ahead and drop the jewel real fast. The jewel is this. Right now, I'm going all in on a company. It's going to be one or two companies. The one is Tilray, and the other one is SciTech. I'm really, really believe that these are going to be some super gems. Might have a little trouble with Tilray at the beginning, but SciTech, SciTech is definitely going to be a banger, banger, banger. Now, like I said, I got to wrap this video up because I got background noise. But I just wanted to let y'all know the two jewels that I was going to drop for you today is SciTech, C-Y-T-E, I believe K, if you look them up. I believe the symbol is C-Y-T-K as well. And then the other company, Jesus Christ, Tilray, which is a medicinal company, biotechnology. I don't think they're in biotechnology, but I think they're using like cannabis and all kinds of things in the medicinal world. And I think it's going to be a banger. I expect their expected growth to be at least 100% a year. And you don't need me to tell you over 10 years, that's a 10x easy. And they're very low price, which means that exponentially they can grow pretty fast or pretty easy. And then on top of that, the market cap is very, very low. And then on top of that, I've been watching them for a while, just playing with them a little while, just keeping my investments really low on them. But I see the way they're reacting when the market's reacting in a bullish manner. And just so y'all know, just to do a close up or recap on my portfolios, I'm actually doing really good in a lot of my portfolios. I'll do another video on my portfolio, on the portfolio aspect only, and show you where I'm actually up 70%, 80%. On a lot of my assets. I'm doing a lot better than I thought I would be doing for it to be the end of year 2023. I thought things would start to pick up maybe at the beginning, like I said a couple of years ago, at the beginning of 2024, and then really start picking up 25, and then go real ham from 27 to like 30, is what I expected. But things are starting to flourish around November. It looks like things are starting to transition around November 1st of this year, being the end of 2023, which is kind of similar to what it did last year, which is the reason why I'm sitting such high, because I think I had an average of about 45, 50% on most of my, high cap assets. And then now I'm at like 80% on some of those same cap assets around the same time the following year, which is now, it being November 1st. Last year was around December 27th is when the market just flipped and went bananas. This year, I expected the market flip around December 1st and go bananas, but instead it started flipping on November 1st. And I just want to put those dates out there because nobody ever talks about that. They never tell you the flip date of these markets. So yeah, the date if you'll go back and check, you can double check, see about my word, about my research. It looks like things start to transition around November 1st this year. Last year, it was around December 27th last year when things started to transition in the bullish manner. So I just wanted to put that out there just to let y'all know that a lot of people there who throwing their money out there and they're really investing and they're thinking that, hey, you know, yeah, we went through some ups and downs, but we did come out this year. You think that we came out this year, then it's already written. This stuff is literally written, meaning that by 2030, things are going to grow so fast exponentially that just using artificial intelligence alone, humans can literally already run up the side of walls right now, believe it or not. Humans can literally run up the side of walls while shooting guns that are laser guns. That shit you see in these games is real. Those weapons exist. Dark weapons, they exist. A weapon that could take your ass to somewhere else, a weapon that could disintegrate you, they exist. Artillery that men can put on, soldiers can put on, and they can run up alongside the walls and defeat gravity, they already exist more than 20 years ago. So things are going to happen so fast when it comes to the consumer. Right now, it's at the institutional level, the military level, the organizational level. It'll drop down to the small business and then the retail and then the consumption level, which is us, consumers. And by the time it gets there, that's when we notice the fast pace of how fast all this stuff is moved. I mean, literally, you'll be standing next to an alien and literally you know it's an alien. It looks just like you and it's accepted. Your job is to go work with him today. And you'll be thinking, how the hell did this all come about so fast? My kids are not even fully grown yet. I mean, fully, you know, they're not even old yet. So this will all happen really fast as time crunches more. This is all written. It's already happened multiple times before. These technologies that we have, we've already had these technologies before. Humans have existed for more than 70,000 years uninterrupted during our previous civilization. When you talk about the Atlanteans and all, they were around for 70,000 years uninterrupted. The Trojans, all these guys. So, of course, they mastered living underwater as humans. Of course, they mastered doing things that we just simply can't do. But with the aid of technology, we can do. You know, we can run along walls with the aid of technology. And in the future, technology and man will become one. It's already that. It's just that we're not previewed to see it because we're consumers. We're poor guys. We're at the bottom of the pyramid. But you can best believe that there's a trillionaire that's already laid eyes on somebody that ran up the side of the wall from our defense side of our United States of America or Europe, for example. So these things do exist. So, yeah, you'll be amazed at what tomorrow will bring for a grandkid of yours today, for example, what they'll be looking at tomorrow, what they'll be doing.